All right, y'all. Welcome back to day number 28, Appalachian Trail, summer 2025. And yep, we have once again made some changes based around the weather here in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So from the last episode, we left off. I was going up Mount Washington in the clouds, could not see a thing. And when I got to the top of Mount Washington, I actually talked to a couple of the rangers up there, and we looked at an extended forecast. And because I have the means to do so, I was able to kind of rearrange some things, move around the hut reservations. They are really good with that. If you need to make alterations and move your hut reservations, and they haven't charged me anything extra or a fee to do so. So what I have done is I have moved ahead on trail about 20, I think it's just a little over 20 miles, and have jumped ahead from Mount Washington 20 miles. And I am now working on a 3-day stretch, still heading north, still on the Appalachian Trail, but because of the weather and moving forward, I'm able to get out of the weather and get 3 days done. So today I am hiking my way toward Carter Notch Hut. I will be staying in the hut this evening. Today I've got a 3.8 mile hike up to the hut. And then tomorrow, I think I have just a little over 7 miles, close to 8. And I will stay at what is known as the IMP campsite. And then the next day, I will do just a little over 8 miles down into Gorham. And originally, this section ends the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Going north, you're still in New Hampshire for about a day and a half. But this ends the White Mountain portion. But after I get done, there's a perfect weather window as of right now, after talking to the rangers, after looking at an extended forecast, to go back up to Mount Washington. So today's 28. On day 31, I will go back up to Mount Washington, hike to Madison Hut, which looks like to be a sunny day all day long, and the high of 60. And then the next day is sunny as well. So once these 3 days are done, I will go back and hike from Mount Washington to Madison, which is open, no trees in sight, above tree line, and have a better weather window to hike those 2 days. So that'll be days 31 and 32. And then, folks, we are moving on out of New Hampshire, and I will have made it through the White Mountains, and we're going to do so slowly but surely. And I'm just going to wait for good weather to go over that section. So the first time I did it, me and my friend Janet, hey Janet, if you're listening, it was bad weather and I didn't see a thing. And it was the same cloud conditions, but we had the two of us, so it was a little bit safer working together and navigating. And we still had a hard time, really hard time. But with the sun, I'm going for it. And there's no reason for me not to wait. I mean, quite honestly. I just don't have to rush through and, do things I don't want to do, quite honestly. So that is what we're doing. We have altered the plan one more time, and I am good with that. And hopefully you guys can hear the water, because right now, to Carter Notch Hut, there is actually a U.S. Forest Service Appalachian Trail reroute recommendation, because back a few miles, there is a bridge that has been deemed unsafe by the U.S. Forest Service. They are recommending a reroute, and I am actually on the reroute. I wanted to take the reroute because it's recommended, and if the U.S. Forest Service recommends something, then that's just what I'm going to do, and that's just what I've always done. So every year that I'm out hiking, if there is an official reroute or an ATC, U.S. Forest Service recommended reroute, that is typically what I do, because honestly, they put it out there for a reason. Now, you don't have to. You can, I've heard people saying they've crossed the bridge and there's nothing wrong with it, and they've gone over the whatever's blocking it, I have no idea. Or they've gone down the creek and navigated how to cross and all that stuff, and I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just going to take the reroute, and so far it has been absolutely beautiful, and I don't have an issue with the reroute either, because I've already done the other route back in 2016. So been up and over the Wildcats already, seen the gondola, all the things, and this is just what I decided to do. And so far, I mean, it's steep. You're still climbing. You still got to get to Carter Notch Hut, which is literally in a notch in between two mountains, and you still have to climb regardless if you take this trail or the Wildcat Trail. It does knock off a few miles, and yeah, that's okay by me too. And what I've noticed on this trail is they have remarked the trail with white blazes. You can tell where they have put up temporary, like plastic white blazes over the blue blazes of the trail. So it is official. And I'm going to Carter Notch Hut. And so far, so good. So hopefully everything I said has made sense. Because I have access to a vehicle and help from Stephanie with navigation and all the things, I am able to kind of hold off until the good weather window to go down to Madison from Mount Washington. And I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to these 3 days because it'll get me to Gorham, and then I'll backtrack. And when I get done with the next 2 days, basically I have 5 days left in the Whites. These 3, and then coming down from Mount Washington to Madison, and then down to where the trail officially reroutes, and then I will connect those dots. So 5 days we'll be done with the Whites. Anyway, this is a long one. I have been rambling, and it's time for me to shut it down. And I'll probably come back once I get to the hut, because we're climbing, folks. All right, y'all, as I'm climbing up here to the hut, I got a funny story for you about me that just happened. So this morning, I was, getting out all my gear, and you know how you look everything 8,000 times, and So I decided for this leg, since I've got my tent and my stove, because tomorrow night I'm staying at a campsite, I was like, you know what? I should use my other backpack, my ULA Circuit, and I've been using my ULA Photon for everything. And in my mind, I know that it can handle all my gear, including my tent, my stove, in about 2 nights worth of food, or 2 days worth of food. And then after that, I should move on to my bigger pack. And I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just use my ULA Circuit over this next stretch to get used to it, da. And I haven't worn it for a long time because I just used this Photon pack, and it works. It's a 35 liter. Don't ask me what possessed me to change my mind early this morning, as I was just getting my overnight clothes together, because last night we did laundry and just getting stuff together. You know how you do. So I just packed my ULA Circuit, and we got to the trailhead, and I put the ULA Circuit on, and I was like, oh my God, this thing feels like a beast of a pack. And I'm like, it's just not even comfortable anymore. I'm so used to this 35 liter ULA Photon. It's nice and tight and compact, and it fits nicely on my back. And I've used my Circuit for years. I used it for the Wonderland Trail, used it prior to that on various hikes. I used it on the John Muir Trail, carrying a big old bear container, or whatever you call those things. Can't even remember. And it was fine. And I put it on this morning, and I was like, there is no frickin' way I am carrying this pack. And I don't know if it's because I'm down in weight and my body is shaped differently. It's almost like it didn't fit. So in the parking lot of the trailhead, I had a pack explosion, and I ripped everything out of that Circuit, put it all in my ULA Photon 35 liter. And it works. It fits. Its max is just a couple nights out, and that's okay. And I've got everything. I've got my stove. What else do I have? My tent poles, everything. And it's just fine. And I don't even know why I questioned that. So anyway, don't question your choices. Just roll with your gut, people. All right, I'll be back. All right, y'all. Day number, I think it's number 29. I am just now leaving Carter Hut. Had an awesome stay at Carter Hut last night. I think there were 14 or 15 of us. Some section hikers, some through hikers, people out doing loops and day hikes and all kinds of things. So it's always awesome to meet new people and hear why they're out hiking and all that wonderful stuff. And today, obviously you guys can hear my breath, headed up, I believe, Carter Dome, I think Height Mountain, North Carter, South Carter, can't remember. 7.4 miles to IMP campsite. And the plan is to get to Imp and hang out there, set up camp, and then head down tomorrow to Gorham. I will probably get up early tomorrow morning and head on down to Gorham. And then the next day, we'll be going back up to Mount Washington. But yeah, great stay last night at Carter Notch Hut. And there were so many people that came through there. One lady in particular stands out. Her trail name is Sailor. And the first time she thru hiked the Appalachian Trail was back in 2020. And now she is working on her second thru hike. And she has sailed around the world multiple times. She has done the PCT, the CDT, the Arizona Trail, the Florida Trail, you name it, she's done it. Fantastic lady. She stopped into the hut early evening last night and got herself a bowl of soup. And I was sitting there having coffee, and we just had a great conversation. And her and her husband are trail angels for the PCT. They live just outside of Yosemite. She said PCT mile marker 1016. And I actually have her and her husband's website. This is a hilarious story. She was telling us about her husband's, or their business. And she goes, here, I have it on my Kula cloth. So I took a picture of her Kula cloth, and it is Trail Angel Central, trailangelcentral.org. So if you want to know about this fabulous lady, and if you ever go out to the PCT and need information, trailangelcentral.org. So that is one of the stories that is going to stick out in my mind, because we were talking and I was like, well, what haven't you done? And she's like, blah, blah, blah. And then she's talking about sailing around the world and how they spend the winters in the Bahamas. And I'm like, oh my gosh, fantastic. All right, y'all. I think I forgot I was in the White Mountains. So I am entering a rocky area of trail going up here, and need to concentrate, so I'll be back soon. All right, y'all, I am back. It is day number 30, and well, twists and turns and things have changed again. I am actually sitting in the van at a campground right now, and I am going to be taking day number 30 off. So let me see if I can backtrack here and fill you all in on what went down yesterday. So I think I started the day talking to you guys about the mileage for the day, where I was going to be staying for the campsite. And then today I was supposed to be hiking from the campsite, Imp campsite, down to US to Gorham. Well, as soon as I got done recording yesterday, I'm telling you, it started to rain, and I mean, it was a deluge. I mean, I was soaked in like literally a minute, and everybody on trail was just soaked in hiking and seeing people, and everybody was just, we were just like drenched rats immediately out on the trail. And I was only, I think I was just a mile and a half into the hike for the day, up and away from the hut. So I was like, well, maybe this will end and, you know, life will be good. The sun will come out and here we go. But it didn't. I mean, it pretty much just kept raining and raining harder and raining sideways. And I knew that I had another mountain to go up, which I just continued to climb up. And when I got up there, I knew it was going to be open, and it was socked in. And I mean, I was just soaked. I mean, everything. And that's what happens up here in the White Mountains. When it starts raining, I mean, you're just done, and the temperature drops, and I mean, everything just turns crazy in about 5 seconds. So I knew I was going to be coming to a turnoff area known as Zeta Pass. And I had a decision to make. I was like, all right, I can take the Zeta Pass trail back down to basically the reroute of the AT and get a hold of Stephanie and have her pick me up at basically the trailhead that I started at the day before. And that's what I did. So when I got to Zeta Pass, I just kind of followed my gut instinct, and I was like, I got to get out of here. This rain is relentless. And it was relentless all day yesterday. So don't regret my decision. I actually decided that after 29 days of hiking, I needed to take a full day off of rest, clear my mind, get things together, and, just kind of regroup. So we are going to regroup. I am going to be going up to Mount Washington tomorrow. It's supposed to be bright sunny, so that plan is still in effect to go back up to Mount Washington, hike over to Madison Hut, and then the next day hike down north from Madison Hut. And then we have the issue of now I've got to go back up to Zeta Pass and then out to Gorham, but I'll take care of that as well. So right now, I'm going to end this episode with, holy cow, things change in a second. Still in the White Mountains. We're going to take a look at things, come up with a different plan, and eventually I'll get out of the White Mountains with completing all of the trail. That is the goal. So forward progress, we've talked about this before, and, that's just what's going to happen. So when you got to regroup, you just have to regroup. Stephanie and I were talking last night, everything looks good on paper. And paper doesn't take into account the weather, trail conditions, reroutes, closures, how I'm feeling, am I able to do a certain amount of mileage? And, it just goes back to, if you hire somebody, they might have this most wonderful resume, but when they show up to the job, it's like, what? You're nothing like what your resume shows. And when you write down mileage on a piece of paper, it's like, oh, I can do this and this and this and this. And it all looks great in Charlotte, North Carolina until, you get to where you need to go. And that's kind of where we're at. It all looks good on paper until you're actually in the situation. And the number one thing you have to be is resilient, be able to switch around your plans and just not worry about it. So I am going to round out this episode with saying we're going to rearrange some plans, but we are going to continue to move forward. It is day 30. So I still have 30 something days left out here. So we will move forward, continue going north, and just see where we end up. And every mile is a good mile. So truly appreciate you all. All is well. Just rearranging some plans again. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there and happy section hiking.